With Austin's return now officially confirmed in an expected major boost to the Raw brand on the way to the No Way Out pay-per-view, SmackDown opened with Stephanie announcing a major surprise return to counter Raw to even the score for later tonight in an appearance finalized over the last week, with the post-Royal Rumble SmackDown opening with one of the big talking points from the pay-per-view, with Chris Benoit coming out first after a potential career-elevating performance against Angle on Sunday that resulted in him getting a major post-match standing ovation from the Fleet Center in Boston. Coming less than an hour following, the same crowd turned on the Steiner vs. Hunter match in one of the biggest crowd reaction contrasts between two pay-per-view main events on the same night, with Angle vs. Benoit after massive expectations heading into their first pay-per-view title match, more than matching it with a strong contender for Match of the Year already by mid-January in a career highlight match for both Angle and Benoit. Kicking off with Benoit vs. Charlie Haas going 9 minutes over the opening quarter, followed by Undertaker's arrival and DeMott vs. Rikishi, seeing the first half hour doing 5.1 million viewers in a routine start right at the recent average, with the big difference being to see if the show grows significantly from that point on, with big star power segments placed in almost every quarter for the rest of the night or stay stagnant for the majority of the show, like the viewing pattern change in recent months, with the show on the night also seeing the first SmackDown with no creative involvement from head writer Paul Heyman in almost a year, similarly to Brian Gowert's missing last Monday's Raw, seeing both suspended for the week after their brief altercation in a production meeting, with both set to return to their roles heading into the weekend. Creative plans for the following week of television. Undertaker made his TV return to a big reaction in his first appearance since October to immediately follow up on the injury angle that wrote him off by calling out Big Show to the ring, holding off the first Taker vs. Show match to the pay-per-view, with Show instead bringing out A-Train to set up Taker's televised return to the ring in an impromptu match to close the first hour, picking up SmackDown into the 6 million viewers range, with an over 900,000 viewers growth throughout the hour to see Taker vs. Albert, which was strongly rumored as Taker's return opponent since the backstage conflict of him getting the push over Matt Hardy in the injury angle with Mysterio in early December, ending with Taker after being eliminated last in the Rumble match being established back with a win in the build to the expected Taker vs. Show match at No Way Out. Edge vs. Benjamin crossed over the top of the hour in a 6-minute match, with Edge after talks of him being potentially cooled off to management following the Albert feud, going over clean to shut off the rumors, with him still next in line for a main event push later in the year after moving from the expected focus on the established star power during WrestleMania season, also bringing up questions on the placement of the second line of top players on both brands, with all top 5 matches on the loaded WrestleMania card set to feature special attractions outside the expected Angle vs. Brock title match, with Thursday night outside the SmackDown UPN broadcast also featuring 2 other major events produced by the company, with the finals of Season 3 of Tough Enough right after SmackDown on MTV, along with the Raw brand starting its Korea and Japan overseas tour first with a sellout crowd in South Korea, seeing the Tough Enough final drawing a season-high 2.6 rating to more than double the season average, while the Korea show headlined with a Steiner and Kane vs. Hunter and Batista main event. 2003 Rumble winner Brock Lesnar, less than a year into his main roster run, recapped his career up to this point in the follow-up promo to the match, which saw him eliminating Taker for the finish, starting the build to the Lesnar vs. Angle WrestleMania match talked about for over a year, followed by Angle and Mysterio both returning to the ring on SmackDown in their first TV singles matches in over a month, with the loaded show from top to bottom, starting with the Rumble pay-per-view follow-up to Taker's return to Angle vs. Ray and the surprise return coming up, breaking the unusual recent viewing change back to what up until the last few months was the regular SmackDown pattern, with the show growing big throughout with over 2 million viewers from 8 to 10 p.m., driven by a 3-month high second hour averaging over 6.4 million viewers, with Angle vs. Mysterio going 7 minutes over 2 quarters in another strong match between them, crossing into the final half hour, with Angle after initial worries on him not fully recovering from knee surgery in time for the Rumble match, returning in peak condition both for the all-time great Benoit match on Sunday and a TV match 48 hours later with Ray, who was originally talked about as being out for months, also returning earlier than expected from knee injury in time for WrestleMania season, ending up with Angle going over, followed by Edge and Benoit laying him out post-match to set up a potential 6-man tag for next Thursday. After promising to counter Austin's expected return to the Raw brand, SmackDown's big surprise before being revealed to the live crowd in the building was already shown to the TV audience before the commercial break to get the buzz going for the next several minutes in hopes of a major viewership boost despite the unadvertised appearance, bumping up the building at 9:40 p.m. with Hulk Hogan making his return to WWE television to a massive reaction from the New York crowd, as it did several times during the roller coaster Hogan-McMahon relationship in the past 20 years, returning to the company after it looked like the bridge was burned just 2 months earlier, with Hogan turning down the planned Lesnar title match at Survivor Series, including almost signing a deal to return to the ring in Japan over the previous 10 days, entering a WWE ring for the first time since August, with all talks of a conflict immediately forgotten and overshadowed by Hogan getting one of the biggest ovations ever seen in the business in one of the memorable segments in show history, getting as close as possible to match his all-time great crowd reactions in Toronto and Montreal during the initial comeback in 2002, with the ovation going over 8 minutes, leading to the company placing their final commercial break in the middle, with the show as a result rapidly picking up viewers, with SmackDown's final half-hour featuring the closing minutes of the Angle vs. Mysterio match, followed by the Hogan return, totaling over 6.6 million viewers in the most-watched half-hour in over 3 months, seeing the first word being said 11 minutes into this segment, with Hogan continuing to hype up the crowd into a frenzy by announcing that he signed a new contract with the company, saying that it might be his final run, with him planning to do it the right way with the red and yellow from the start to bring out Vince McMahon. 6 minutes from the top of the hour to now, after years of talks about the potential feud, officially kicking off the build-up to the first Hogan vs. McMahon match, with Hogan even going back to WCW's peak run when dominating the industry during the Monday Night Tours, always publicly mentioning Vince as the one match that will make him return to the WWF for another run, opening the program with big momentum, with the final quarter seeing the Hogan-Vince confrontation hitting over 7 million viewers in the first segment on WWE TV to enter the 7 million range since October 3rd, with the loaded SmackDown overall, which outside of Hogan's return also featured Taker and Angle's first TV matches in months, drawing an over 2-month high audience with 5.9 million viewers.